Hi class, Mr. Cardinal here with lesson 7 from chapter 2, using expressions to describe patterns. You can write an expression to describe the pattern in an input-output table. When you put in or input a number in the left-hand column of a table and follow a rule or a pattern to get an output, it is called an input-output table. As you can see on the input-output table on the screen, the input column has 11, 12, 13, 15, and 20, and the output 5, 6, 7, and 2 unknown numbers. If we put in 11 in this input table, and then we end up with 5, we have to think about a mathematical operation that was performed to the 11 to get 5. Sometimes it can be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Sometimes it can have more than one. In this case, to go from 11 to 5, one thing we can do is subtract 6. If the rule works for the first one, we need to double check and make sure that it works for all of the inputs. Now we are given 2 other inputs. So if we take 12 and we subtract 6, we should get 6, and we indeed do. So 13 minus 6 is 7. So I can tell based on what I know about the input and output, and our expression then would have to be x minus 6. And x can be any number. We aren't limited to just 11, 12, 13, 15, and 20. We can put in any number to represent x. It can be 55, it can be 130. But whatever number we put into the input, we have to subtract 6 to get the output. So again, the pattern is subtract 6. So for the 2 inputs that are missing the outputs, 15 and 20, we can say that the output for 15 would be 15 minus 6, and 15 minus 6 is 9. Same thing for 20. 20 minus 6 equals 14. So I can say 9 and 14. I now want to draw your attention to the example problems down here at the bottom of the reteaching. The input-output table shown here shows how much Jake pays for toys. Use the input-output table to answer questions 1 through 4. Now, if Jake buys 12 toys, what is the cost? First of all, I have to decide, is the input the number of toys, or is input the number of dollars, or the cost? In this particular instance, the input, or what we start with, is going to be the toys. The output is going to be the cost. So if Jake buys 12 toys, what is the cost? I wish it would have started with number 3, to be honest, because number 3 asks us to come up with the expression for that input-output table. So I'm looking for the pattern, or what am I doing to the input to get the output in each of them. So to go from 6 to 18, yes, I'm adding 12. But when I add 12 to 7, I get 19, not 21. And I'm looking for 21. So it's not adding 12, and we're certainly not subtracting, so I'm going to try multiplying. 6 times what equals 18? 3. Now follow the rule for my other inputs. 7. 7 times 3 equals 21. 8 times 3 does indeed equal 24. And 9 times 3, of course, equals 27. So I know then that my expression is my input times 3. Now my input can be any number. I'm not going to just stick to the numbers here on my table. My input can be any number. In fact, in this case, they want us to represent the number using the variable t. So for sure, I'm going to have t as my input. And what are we doing to our input? We are multiplying that by 3. Now remember, the way we show 3t is not with a multiplication sign. We have the variable next to the coefficient, or the number. So 3t is the expression for this input-output table. Now going back up to the top, or number 1, if Jake buys 12 toys, what is the cost? 12 is going to be my input. And again, my input is represented by the variable t. So if I plug 12 in, or substitute 12 in for t, 12 times 3 equals 36. And finally, number 2, if Jake pays $45, how many toys did he buy? In this instance, we are actually starting with the output, and we are going backwards trying to find the input. So I could actually say that this is going to be 3t equals 45, and now I have to solve for t, the number of toys. And to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So if I divide this side by 3, I'm left with the variable t, or again, the input. And when I divide 45 by 3, I get the answer of 15. So 15 is the correct answer, or 15 toys. For number 4, I'm going to leave that one up to you, and I want you to bring your answer to class on a separate sheet of paper. Do not complete it on a document. I want you to bring it on a separate sheet of paper. It can be a scrap paper, it can be your mom's grocery list, whatever it is that you can write on. I want you to write the answers to number 4. What are the inputs and outputs what inputs and outputs should be added to the table for 20 toys? So what is an input and what would the output be in your input-output table if you have 20 toys? So again, bring that to class tomorrow. That's a guarantee that you watch the video. In addition to that, I want you to create a document. So click on Create, and immediately when you click on Create, I believe that the Turn In button will appear. Click on Turn In, and then that way it will show me on Google Classroom that you did watch this video. So again, create, turn in, and of course come to class with your answer. It's a guarantee that you watched the video. Thank you very much. Have a good night.